Welcome to the legendary Ladies of the 80s panel. I am Keith Caulfield, co-director of charts at Billboard. That's Michelle Visage.
Hi!
She's not only like 1/3 of the panel, but she's also the warm-up act.
Yes, I was.
And we have two other fabulous ladies with us here on the panel. Oh my goodness.
Big ones.
Big ones. We have a two-time Academy Award-nominated, Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter who has topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart. And, you know, she's done all right for herself.
Little bit.
A little bit. We have a singer-songwriter, producer, Broadway star who has topped the charts and is just an amazing, amazing lady. So please welcome, give a rousing, warm embrace to Siedah, Garrett, and Debbie Gibson!
Okay, black don't crack, but it does sag a little bit.
Woo! Woo! All right, we did it. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Again, welcome to the legendary Ladies of the 80s panel. You know, we call it legendary Ladies of the 80s. However,
Are you calling us old?
No.
Because I was just a child at the time.
Because all of you were born in the 80s.
Yes, that's right.
Well, no, it's because you found your initial success and breakthrough in the 80s.
Correct.
And have
That is
since
true.
continued to flourish and find great success in the decades since.
Well played.
That was
So-
yes, very, very nice backpedaling.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't name the panel, all right? It came to me already named, but I embrace it and I love it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about sort of your breakthrough in the 80s, tell some stories about some of your hits, and, you know, just kibitz and kiki, and it's very loose and conversational here.
Why are you looking at me when you say loose?
Why you look at me when you say kibitz?
They got jokes. So I'll start with Michelle.
Okay, do.
What do you consider, if we go back to the 80s, your breakthrough moment? Like, was there a moment where you had a moment of, like, someone discovered you or you got that big break? Like, what was that?
I was working as a receptionist in a clothing company in Midtown Manhattan. And my best friend at the time was a gorgeous Puerto Rican lady named Idalis. And she had called me because I answered the phone. So I was like, Casablanca and Fundamental Things. She's all, guess what? I got in a girl group. I said, you're kidding me. And knowing she's Puerto Rican, this wasn't meant to sound racist, but I said, do they need a white girl?
Yeah.
And she said...
As you do.
Right, as one does.
Yeah.
And she said, no, girl, they already have one. And I was like, bitch, I am your best friend. They do not have me. And she said, no, like she was nervous that it was going to mess up her chances if I called. But this was always our dream. Like we used to do little skits all the time. Like we always dreamed about being VJs on MTV, which she ultimately went on to do. But so she gave me the number and I called up and I was like, I know you guys have a girl group. Do you need a white girl? They were like, funny you said that, but we already have one. And I said, but you don't have me. Can I come audition? And I went in there to CNC. You guys know as CNC Music Factory. But at the time, they weren't. They were just Robert Clavillis and David Cole. And I went in and I sang a song by my all-time favorite vocalist, an artist named Tina Marie. And that's why Ru calls me Vanilla Child, by the way, because that was Tina's nickname. So I went in and I sang a song called Deja Vu by Tina Marie, which was one of her hits, but not one of her square biz, you know, Lover Girl hits. So I sang that. David Cole, you know, sat there real stoic, like, that was good. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what else you got? And I was like, Jennifer Holliday, I Am Love. And he was like, what, bitch? And so I started singing it. And before I got to the, yeah, you walk, you know, that really high part, I stopped. And he was like, what about the high part? And I go, no, I'm done. I gave you a song and a half. And he goes, you'll be in the group if you sing the high part. So I blasted that shit. And he was like, pack your panties. You're going away. So that's how that happened. And Seduction, a lot of people might not know our first song, You're My One and Only, you know, right? That song was sang, that one.
That one.
The vocalist on that song
Everybody.
is actually Martha Wash, yes, who was a vocalist for everybody in that time and still one of the fucking best on the planet, yes.
Yeah.
she did that because they didn't expect Seduction to blow up to what it was. So they put that single out thinking, oh, it's just going to be a thing. And CNC's goal, they always wanted to do an interracial girl group. So they had me, the black girl. They had the just kidding. They had April, and then I had Idalis, and we tried to get a fourth in a lovely Asian woman, but we couldn't find one at the needs at the time with dancing and singing and then everything going on. So we kept it at 3, and the song started going up the charts, and I think it peaked at 25, but they weren't expecting that. And A&M Records called at the time and said, you need to put a group together, and that's how it happened. We did that album in 6 weeks, and that group was chosen, done, go on the road.
Wow.
And that's how it started.
That's so
that was
funny.
1989.
My debut album was done in 6 weeks also.
Was
because
it?
at the time, I think because a lot of people started in dance and my stuff started in the clubs. The Little Louis Vega remix was the first Only in My Dreams version that was ever heard. Oh, look, she's got it with her.
Ah.
That's it. That's the one.
Oh my God.
But yeah,
does she
it was.
sound exactly the same?
She does. And we have a
That's so
similar A&R person because it was Larry Asghar
It was.
that found Seduction and
Which,
you.
look, at the time, call it for what it is. It was basically like, we'll invest $5,000 and throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks, and we'll give it to the guys in the back office to work it. But they didn't know the guys in the back office were amazing. And if you chose to go on the road, like my mom took me on the road at 16. We were like the Von Trapp family, but playing clubs. I played clubs in East LA. We were escorted in with like armed guards. We had I would play a teen club, a straight club, and a gay club 4 nights a week. But the point of that story was because they were like, okay, if Only in My Dreams gets to top 10 on the dance charts, every time I say it, she's gonna hold it up.
She's going to hold that up.
Which, at the time, that's like a nearly impossible milestone to reach. But they set these markers like that. Well, then we'll do another single. If that goes, then we'll do an album. So when Only in My Dreams took 9 months, it started peaking. Only in My Dream. They were like, quick, we need the whole album in 6 weeks. Now, my life was only 16 years at the time, but you wait your whole life to do an album, and you'd have this dream of it being like you're going to be lounging around. No, it's get it done and fly to Miami, work with Louis Martinet. We were doing it in a garage studio in Brooklyn. We were, everywhere. But I think the energy of that probably with your album too is amazing. When you have to get it done and you've just got to decide these are the best songs.
Well, you
do it.
wrote, so it's different.
Yeah.
She wrote and produced and
we
performed.
were given songs to learn, and it was like, I hate this. I hated It Takes Two with a seething passion.
Oh, that sucks.
I have to
Hated it.
I have to moderate and ask questions real quick.
Okay, go.
Before we get too far
Go.
along. I mean that in all loving.
Whatever. Just kidding.
But you mentioned your first single.
Yeah.
Which with that Martha Wash did
Correct.
lead on. Were you guys actually on the track
No.
at all?
No.
Not even backing
No,
vocals?
never.
Damn.
No. But when we sang it, we performed it live.
Yeah, and live you
Yeah.
did it. Yeah. Martha Wash actually was here last year.
And she'll be here this year too, I
Oh, really?
believe. Yeah.
And speaking of writing, producing, performing, Foolish Beat for Debbie went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and continues to hold the record as you were the youngest woman to solely write, produce, and perform a #1 hit on the
Yes.
Billboard Hot 100. No other woman has done it.
No, not since. Oh, look, she's got that with her too.
Killing me.
She's a plant.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
back when you were, 16 years old and suddenly the song took off and you had to pull the album together in such a
Right.
short time. I mean, that was a very different time for a teenager to be signed to a major label and to have all that
Yes.
support. Unlike today where you can just get on the internet and SoundCloud your stuff out. That was very different back
and
then.
also what's different is the younger the better now. It's like if you're 18, they're like, you're too old. We want to develop you from the time you're 12.
They want embryos.
They
Yes.
want fetuses, yes. Signing fetuses now.
Fetus is too old.
Right. exactly.
Placenta.
Oh my God, too funny. But yeah, so it was an interesting time because I joke that I look older on not that cover. You don't have to hold it up. on the 12-inch album artwork, like my hair is all layered and I'm pouting and like I look like my mother now. You know what I mean? I look like it was crazy because they did everything they could to hide my age, whereas now age is an asset. Like the younger the better. But back then, and also they didn't want the club owners to know how old I was because I was playing in their clubs at 16. Thank you. So yeah, it's interesting how it's all changed.
At the same time, all of you were getting discovered and having success. Siedah was also on the charts as
Slaying
well.
it.
I mean, Lord have mercy. I mean,
The Lord does, honey. The Lord does.
works in mysterious ways. Siedah not only has 2 Academy Award nominations and a Grammy Award, however, 2. But in the early 80s, you were working with Quincy Jones and his publishing company as a songwriter.
Yes.
And
Which I didn't want to be, by the way.
you didn't want to be a songwriter.
No.
It worked out pretty well, though.
Yeah, I did pretty good.
You wrote Man in the Mirror. She wrote Man in the Mirror for Michael Jackson.
Oh, now you bitches want to clap. Okay. Thank you.
But wait, it gets better. The first single from the Bad album was I Just Can't Stop Loving You, a duet with Siedah Garrett. Now,
Which, by the way, you couldn't even tell who was who because everybody thought it was Michael.
You know what? That freaked Quincy out. Yeah. So he said, God damn it, if I close my eyes, I can't tell where you start and Michael begins.
Yep.
It was just, and Michael, he sounded like me on purpose. And when we went to record the Man in the Mirror, I'd written the song in a key that was just a little bit too high for Michael. So I had to re-record.
I just sounded
You
like
just sounded
Michael.
like Michael.
I just channeled Michael. I totally did not mean to do that. Go, Siedah.
Bitch, if you start moonwalking. Okay. So I had to re-sing the demo in the lower key. So Quincy tells me to go in the booth and sing the demo, and Michael follows me into the booth with a video camera. I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, I want to record you singing this because I want to sing it like you. I said, great, Mike. All my friends are going to believe me when I tell them he wanted to sound like me. It was insane, but it was the most surreal time of my whole life. I mean, Michael Jackson, for God's sake. I mean, we just lost him. We just lost Prince. They are dropping like flies, so we must
form a human chain around the rest of us,
yeah.
all you.
we must
Protect
really,
Madonna
really,
now.
really appreciate those that are still here. And,
Yep.
and we can start with this panel right now.
Ah,
You know,
get the holy water.
can I jump in on something really quick? Because I was just
Yes.
doing an interview, the Oprah Where Are They Now? People are here, and they're interviewing me, and I was talking a little bit about this because, you know, like a lot of people like myself, it's like I've never done street drugs, I don't drink. However, performers are like, there's so this feeling like the show must always go on, and the labels are pressuring you, and there's all this pressure. And there's a lot of prescription medication, self-medicating going on constantly. And I've just gotten to the point, like a year ago, where I'm like, I'm not going to do prednisone again to get on the stage. And I'm not going to, like, people just want, like, the body on the stage, and they don't care what happens to you afterwards. And I feel like everyone's, like, one step away from that if we're not really careful. Anyway.
There's some.
We digress.
What Michelle brought up in terms of how there is a difference now between the interaction with fans and the interaction of fans, say 25 years ago,
Yeah.
where the interaction back then was you write a letter, or maybe you see someone after a show or at a club, maybe. Now it's instantaneous.
It's Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
We didn't even do meet and greets back then, did you, Debbie? Because we didn't. Seduction didn't really do meet and greets.
No, I did meet and greets, but it was once the teen thing started. I mean, in the clubs, I did them just to kind of get it going.
Yeah.
You know, you were giving your headshots away, and you were, and then the teen thing, like that following, always kind of demanded a meet and greet, if you will.
I want to transition, if we can, a little
Oh,
bit.
that's so. Thank you for sharing that. That's a big deal.
Knew you were going there.
Are we
not
the
easy.
first to know? That was good, Michelle.
I figured the place to do it would be here.
You're right. You're right. Safe zone. It's safe zone.
You know. By the way, I have to say the show floor is crazy. The convention show floor. Because I was
so
here last
proud.
year, and this is like 3 times the size.
It is exactly triple.
Everything is bigger. Like
Just like we like it.
yeah, the hair, the makeup, everything is bigger. I want to transition and actually ask each of you kind of to reflect on kind of like a moment on the Billboard charts, just because I happen to work there. And each of you have had a #1 hit on the charts. I want to ask Siedah, you know, when you hit #1, for the first time? Because you've had more than one number one hit. K-I-S-S-I-N-G was
Yes,
also
I love that song.
a hit on our dance charts, by the way. When you hit number one with Michael, do you remember finding out? Like, did someone call you? Did someone show you a magazine? Did you get a telegram from Michael?
No.
A telegram? What is it, 1927?
Morse code?
Siedah.
He sent around
Smoke
a,
signals.
He sent around a posse, and no. I think it was in Billboard magazine, actually.
The old-fashioned way.
Yep.
Someone showed you the magazine.
Yep.
And
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Michelle, you've had a number one.
Well, here's my story.
Oh, hey now. What?
We had plenty of number one dance hits, and we had top 10 singles. Billboard chart show back then was the shit.
They
there
are
was
still,
yes,
excuse me.
hold on. But
They're
let me
still the
preface
shit.
this by saying there was no online anything. There was no, you could see it on YouTube, none of it. The only way you knew success was Billboard Hot 100. That's the end all be all. It still is the most important, but it's different now, and you can agree.
Oh, no, it is different.
Yeah, with all sorts
We
of
have
stuff going on.
iTunes and YouTube
Yeah,
and
with
the
all
Vivos
that.
and
That
the-
was
yeah.
never there. So with that said, the only way you marked your success was by how high you charted, and Seduction was bound for number one with a bullet for two to make it right, and then fucking Paula Abdul. And that damn animated cat named after shit, MC Scat Cat, decided to release Opposites Attract, and what happened? Number one and stayed there.
But you had number two for 2 weeks.
But who cares?
You know what? Quincy told me that the worst numbers in the world, especially with regards to this company that you work for,
Yeah, I know.
is number 11.
11?
41.
41?
Number 5. Yeah.
41.
41, 11, 5, no,
Two.
6, and 2.
Yeah.
Because if you're 2, you're not number 1.
No.
If you're 6, you're not top 5.
Yep.
If you're 11, you're not top 10.
Yes.
So it's
You're not
You're
top
41. Casey Kasem's not going to talk about
Yeah.
you.
You're right.
But
Casey Kasem, let me tell you, Casey
That's
Kasem
the
was
best.
so amazing.
That was the best.
I used to do before Ryan Seacrest. I did America's Top
shade.
10 with when Casey was on vacation or out sick or anything, and it was so amazing. And you know his tagline at the end was, "Keep your head in the clouds and your
Keep
feet on the
keep-
ground." But I would never ever say that. I would say shit like, "Keep your head in the clouds and your feet warm." I don't know. It was just, and he would call me. He called me once and said, "I really love what you're doing on the show. You're very funny, and I like what you're doing with the tagline." And at the time, his wife was pregnant with his first child, and he was going to have a boy. And I said, "Whatever you do, just don't name him Justin, Casey, okay?"
I love that.
I'm done.
And that's her story.
You are not done.
Well,
I actually have
in this town.
I have another question for you. You're not done yet. You worked with Michael, but you also worked with Madonna.
Yeah.
You did, not only did you tour with her for the Reinvention Tour,
Yes.
but back in the 80s, you did backing vocals on her True Blue album.
Yes.
So Open Your Heart, La Isla Bonita, Where's the Party?
You've done your homework, my dear.
I allegedly have a job in the music business.
Okay, yeah.
So do we.
There are 3 of you right now.
How did you get the gig working with Madonna for that album? Because she was doing background vocals for a lot of people in the 80s.
That's how I made my bread and butter. But I think I got that gig through Stephen Bray, who's the producer.
Yeah, Stephen Bray and Patrick
Yeah.
Leonard did a lot of Madonna stuff in the
Yeah.
80s.
And it was really cool because he asked me to put a group of singers together to do the background vocals. And Madonna was in the rooms, me, Steve, and Madonna. And I'm thinking, I'm saying, well, I have a girl we could. And I said to Madonna, "You want to sing on it? You want to?" And she was like, "Sure." So I hired Madonna for her album. It was really, and she was really fun to work with because she. This one thing I can say about Madonna.
You can say lots of things
That
about
bitch
Madonna.
works harder than anyone that I've ever met, okay? She will be the first to admit, I'm not the best fucking dancer, I'm not the best singer, but she's the hardest worker, and it makes up for so much. It also can get on your goddamn nerves after a while. Just so you know.
Perfectionist.
We all in this room should know that Michelle loves Madonna.
My idol.
And she is your favorite diva, I would imagine.
I have a lot of divas that like I mentioned Tina Marie earlier. Pat Benatar was a big one for me. Vocally, I was a Broadway kid too, so I grew up kind of worshiping different people. So and the Go-Go's were huge for me. They were the turning point for me because it was an all-girl group, and there was a lead singer who was awkward and kind of chubby and didn't really care. I didn't know she was all going through what she was going through, but for me, she was such an inspiration. And that was the point in my life where I decided to not care and stop with the eating disorder and change my ways. And she wore mini skirts, so I was like, I'm going to wear mini skirts. And then Go-Go's opened the pathway, and then Cyndi Lauper and Madonna came out. And when Madonna came out, I lost my shit. Lost my ever-loving shit. And I became obsessed with her, and I never stopped. And I think the younger generation needs to really know who she is, because she opened the fucking door for so many female artists, and a lot of them have no idea. I sing Take a Bow on this tour.
Yes.
I literally get 10 tweets after a show going, what was the name of that song you sang? And they think it's my record.
People.
It's her longest running #1
7
single.
weeks at #1.
Wait a minute. Madonna is one of those artists who has been relevant for every decade
Yes.
since she's been on the scene.
Preach!
It's the only other person that I can think about that has had that kind of share, and Prince and
Yes.
Quincy Jones.
The closest I would say we
Yes,
have
to
to him
Quincy,
at this
to
point.
what- yeah.
Quincy produced Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad, but he was also an incredible arranger. He's still here.
Yes.
But jazz, Sinatra, the 50s.
It's just amazing, those productions. Or every production is so thoughtful, and it's like if I ever, when I produced my music, I always tried to not overproduce. Like Quincy, every production and arrangement was a puzzle, and you heard everything you were supposed
Yes.
to hear when you were supposed to hear it. Wasn't just a bunch of layered stuff, which a lot of
Quincy-
producers do.
And Quincy, to me, Quincy is to production what Sinatra is to phrasing. Everybody knew Sinatra and his phrasing. He's legendary. Nobody
Right.
phrases like Sinatra. That's the way Quincy produces.
That's a good
It's
analogy.
remarkable.
On that album, I was able to do a duet with my ever-loving idol, Chaka Khan.
Yes, honey.
And we did a song called oh God, I just had a brain fart.
And I love that album. And
But before you do you wake up on the day you're recording with Chaka Khan? Like I'd be be
didn't
so
know it. I
petrified to
didn't
sing.
know it.
I'd be
Don't
like I can't sing. Like
didn't
I would
know it. I
be
didn't know it.
freaking out, frozen. How did
The day I woke up to
can't even
do
talk
it,
about it.
I didn't know Chaka was going to be in the room.
That's
But
the best
when
thing.
I walked through the studio, and there's a song that
so
I
nervous.
sang the whole song. I sang the demo, and then I sang the whole song. I wish I could think. I'm really going to be upset.
it'll
with
come
myself.
to you. But
It'll
tell
come to you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say someone
Was
Google
that
it.
my husband? Yes. We did The Places You Find Love, and I sang the whole song, and then Quincy decided he wanted to put Chaka on it. So Chaka came in to listen to it, and she listened to it, and then she turned to Quincy and said, "What the fuck you need me for? You got her on it." I looked at Chaka and I said, "I said the same thing. What the fuck you need her for? You got me on it." Amazing. Amazing. Love her.
There are so many sort of interrelationships between all of you and in the business all this time. Have you all met previously, like back in the late 80s, or have you interacted with one another
Well, we've
previously?
like worked on the radio together.
I was gonna,
I've
Michelle,
interviewed Debbie a million times.
Michelle was a radio personality.
And let me,
for a
yes,
long
well,
time,
for
so-
17 years in New York City, Los Angeles, and
She's
Florida.
an author, a radio personality, a Big Brother contestant.
But I will say this about Debbie, is that her mother, I loved her mother too, and they came on the radio station KTU in New York City where I was for a while. And this is what stand-up classy people they were, because I had my daughter, my eldest daughter is right there, Lily, and I chronicled my whole fight to get pregnant for 2 years on the radio, and all these women who battled infertility were in this with me, so it was a journey. So the fact that I got pregnant was a really big deal. And I remember announcing my pregnancy, and not a few days later, I had the most beautiful Tiffany, and she still has it. Tiffany, now you can see who it came from. You don't even know who it is. Tiffany piggy bank from Debbie and her mother when I announced my pregnancy. And it's like, you don't get that kind of attention to detail. It was super sweet for them to be that thoughtful. And I still have that little Tiffany piggy.
I thought we could, if there were a couple burning questions
Please.
that folks had,
Burn it up, burn
I
it
have
up
an
for your
ointment for
question.
it.
a vision in pink. What is your question?
Jim.
It's excitement.
Hi. So Debbie, I had a question for you. I've been a longtime fan, and Electric Youth was a big part of growing up. And I loved your clothes in the video.
Thank
And
you.
It's so different from what teenagers are wearing today. And I was wondering, was that an organic choice for you? Did you have a choice about what kind of outfits you were wearing or what you wore on stage?
You know, I always wanted to dress in a way that was accessible. Like I wanted to dress how I dressed in real life, and I was into like the ripped jean shorts, and I wore 2 swatches, and I had the bandana, and so you know, like I got horrified the glam squads because they were wanting to do this diva hair, and I was like, great, and now let's just pull it all back in a bandana and call it a day. And that was very much me, and it was so funny because I got to perform Electric Youth for Princess Diana at the Princess Royal Trust, and because I was on first, I was in the ripped jean shorts and everything, and it was my favorite moment ever meeting her. I said to her, I'm so sorry I'm dressed like this, but I'm up first, so they didn't let me put on a gown. And she leaned over and she said, you look a heck of a lot more comfortable than I am. So yeah. I thank you. All I want is room somewhere. No, so anyway, but I was, yeah, that was very, very much me. And I think, you know, it's funny, musically and with fashion, once everyone tried to start to, and this is why I ended up leaving the label, everyone suddenly they were like, that you had all this success and it was so organic, and now we want to get our hands in it and change it all.
Yeah.
And that's when everything always starts to go wrong. So they were like, we want to put you with urban producers. And I'm like, right, because Lost in Your Eyes was so urban that those fans are going to, so, you know. And then suddenly I'm being dressed in Versace and kids are going, well, we can't find that at the mall. And so that's when like I kind of took a step back. I went into theater because I could be myself in
You
theater.
were really good as Belle.
Thank you.
I saw you.
Thank you. I loved doing Broadway, and I ended up doing literally 17 musicals in 17 years between Broadway, the West End, and tours. I think because I finally felt like you can.
God, I never want to work that hard. Ever.
It was crazy. Well, I never want to work that hard again because that's a lot of 8 shows a week. But I loved it so, and twice on Saturday and Sunday. But I loved it because there were no politics involved, and in my 5 years of the major label, I got burnt on politics, and I'm like, I just want to sing, dance, and act now and be interactive with the audience, because if you suck, they let you know, and if you're great, they let you know, and then you go home and then you do it again. It's very simple, and that's why I think I did it for so long.
We probably have time for like 2 more questions, so come on down.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, my name's Stone.
You look great.
Hi, biggest Deb fan ever.
Aw, yay.
Thank you.
Oh, other than these 2. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's wearing the t-shirt.
But my question is for Michelle.
Go on then.
You said earlier you would spill the tea on a seduction reunion.
Yeah, not going to happen.
How
Here's the
come?
thing. There was a lot of tension in that group from the beginning, again, in the book. Started from day one when our first gig was in Virginia Beach, opening for David Johansen. Hot, hot, hot. Buster Poindexter, yeah. And we went out and we shopped, and we were responsible for our own look, and we got these little outfits, and I packed them, and I left by mistake April's outfit. She's the African-American girl in the group. I left her outfit on my bed. It was a total mistake. So when we got there, I don't cry. I just don't cry. I never did. But I was like profusely, like, I'm so sorry. Can I buy you an outfit? I offered to buy her an outfit from my own credit card out in Miami where we were, and she wouldn't talk to me. And then at that point, I was also, and I don't want to make this about race, but I was engaged to a black man at the time, and she wasn't happy.
Oh, we hate that.
Girl. She was not happy about it at all, and she let it be known. Go get your own kind type of shit. And I was like, bitch, she is my kind. I got the ring. So that's why it'll never happen, because even when we talked about it, she just, when I was on the radio here in Los Angeles, I did a sing with seduction type of thing that we auditioned girls to sing with me. She sent me a cease and desist because she now owns the name of the group. I was like, bitch, what?
To say, do a TV movie version,
Girl,
expose.
And I got to the point where I've been married for almost 19 years to my husband. I have 2 beautiful children. I am super happy.
Is he still
I have
black?
He's not. Girl, look at them. They're like the Aryan Nation poster children. I never saw color. I just saw whatever came my way was pretty. And for me, I've never been racist. I've never seen any gender, never anything in my life. So for me to be called out on it, it upset me. So at that point, I realized I don't have time for negativity. I'm just going to go on and do my shows and enjoy singing and doing what I'm doing. And you don't matter. If you want to be negative and live your life in that bubble, you go for it. So why should I put myself around it and do a reunion when I ain't got nobody got time for that? I'm trying to make a change in this community. I ain't got time for that. That's why.
We have literally 3 candidates coming in like in 5 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Give them all a round of applause.
Thank you, guys.